Bolt. But if you have Bolt as a big favorite for London, wait a second and see what that young man looks like, because Blake is certainly a real threat to Usain Bolt.
And from Trinidad and Tobago, Keston Bledman, who ran a win-aided 9:89 in Orlando last month.
Yeah, he really has been looking good. That actually was a wind-legal 9:89, and that, in fact, makes him number 5 this year on the world list. And there's Richard Thompson, the guy who was second across the line for Trinidad and Tobago, behind Usain Bolt in the Beijing Olympics back in 2008.
And no offense indeed, but probably one of the most forgotten silver medalists of all time after what Usain Bolt did in Beijing and then later on at the World Championships. Richard Thompson, Keston Bledman, Mike Rogers there as well. It's going to be very interesting to see. Yohan Blake, a big favorite here, but what is the time relative to what Tyson Gay did in his return? Tyson Gay, you thought maybe he'd go back to the hotel, but no, he's watching to see what one of his main competitors in London will do.
And we should have an asterisk next to that 10 flat, because given the 1.5 meter per second headwind, we have checked the tables, and that is worth about 990 or 991. I spoke to Yohan Blake's coach, Glenn Mills, in the elevator just a couple hours ago, and he said, listen, I'm not worried about time with any of my athletes. I want Yohan to come out here and execute. If he does that, I think he's going to run as fast as he has all season. Well, he's run 9.84 this year, and it doesn't seem like the headwind is prevailing anymore. So I expect some fireworks here with this sort of field.
Runners into their blocks, the 100 meters, the final event at the Adidas Grand Prix. Mentioned the time for Yohan Blake. Usain Bolt has run the fastest in the world so far this year, 9:76 in Rome a couple of weeks ago.
And just glancing at the flags, Paul, the wind has died almost completely down. So it means we have a good chance at a legal race and a chance to watch the reigning world champion, Yohan Blake.
Bledman in 4, Rogers in 5, Blake in 6, Trell Kimmins in 7.
I don't know if this starter knows how disconcerting that walk that he's doing. Look at everybody put their hands up. That is the worst
I was thinking the same thing, Otto.
There's a way to check if everybody's in their blocks and behind the line without doing that. And I don't think they realize that that's what's causing everybody to raise their hands and false start. You're trying to focus straight down. You have these orange shoes walking in front of you.
Green card, please.
So you see everybody up out of their blocks. It hasn't been any sort of a discrepancy at the start, but kind of threw everybody off. Remember, everybody leaves this meet and heads to their trials, so this is the last chance to get that confidence boost before you go try to make the Olympic team. Mike Rogers is certainly somebody who might factor in Eugene. Yohan Blake has to contend with Asafa Powell and Usain Bolt back home. That's like a mini Olympics down there in Kingston.
Can Yohan Blake legitimately challenge Usain Bolt at 100 meters in London?
There's no question about it, because the people that give Bolt problems are the guys who have good speed endurance. 1926 tells you all you need to know about the kind of speed endurance that Yohan Blake has. In other words, if he gets out ahead of Bolt, which is likely, it's unlikely that he hands back any sort of lead. What a great way to close what has been a fantastic Adidas Grand Prix. And here's the walk again.
Set.
And a fair start, Yohan Blake in lane 6. Coming, but he's getting some challenge from Michael Rogers, also from Keston Bledman, but Yohan Blake gets it 990.
Well, 990, which is about the same as Tyson ran, except this has a tailwind behind it, and I think Yohan Blake really would have liked to separate from this sort of field early. Keston Bledman of Trinidad and Tobago gave Yohan Blake, the world champion, all he wanted in this race. Keston Bledman is in the middle of your picture, Mike Rogers in between, and then the world champion, Yohan Blake, on the right. And look at how long Keston Bledman led this race. It was really only with the lean that Yohan Blake was able to overcome Yohan Blake. So a win for Yohan Blake, but not as comfortable as he would have liked, as we go to Dwight with the last field report.
All right, Otto, wrapping up the men's high jump. This was Jesse Williams at 7, 8 3/4. He had no misses to this point in the competition. He makes it cleanly. It's the second